just short for neighborhood. You know, black people, it's really tough to say that we got black communities. We oftentimes got black neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? And this is what it ended up looking like, you know, and now it's a ghost town. You know, a lot of people don't come around, but this was like the center of like blackness for a minute. You know, you got Little Rock Central high up the street. I graduated from up there. But all this was like Crip territory. And my ancestors, my mom, my dad and all of them ran up here. They ran up at the park. You know, you would see like just seas of people up here on Saturdays, just barbecuing, kicking and having a good time. You know, we would come up here and shoot basketball, me, little Courtney, Crystal and Taylor and all them, and we would just come up here and play football or whatever we was doing, you know what I'm saying? You know, it was safe for us, you know, because we knew the people that were so-called gang members, you know, and while they was probably like ostracized by society, you know, they was our mentors to the point where when I got to school, we was doing a career day. I'd never forget, we was doing a career day, and they was like, it was my turn to ask, you know, what I wanted to be. And I was just like, I want to be a Crip. And man, the crowd was just like, what? That was my idea of mentorship, you know? And, you know, they would come up here and they shot the documentary called Gangbanging in Little Rock right here. Right here, and HBO shot that documentary, you know, and my uncle, Leaford Jackson, was the one that was hosting the documentary because he was a big homie. He was the guy that was, you know, he was the guy on the block back in the day. So, you know, it just feel good, you know, coming from this area and raised up, you know, in what was considered probably one of the worst neighborhoods in the South at the time, you know, and the crime rate was in 92, 93. I was born in 92, 93, 94. Little Rock crime rate was the highest nationwide. And it's smaller than Chicago, you know, it's smaller than New York, it's smaller than Bronx. So, you know, this was a hot spot for a minute, and it just feel good, you know, to come back and, you know, relate to my people and talk to them and mentor them and, you know, tell them there's more out here, you know.
20 motherfuckers started this shit.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My big brother and them, yeah.
Oh yeah?
At Wolf Street?
Yeah. See, I was just a baby. I was in the, you know, moving through on
Matter
the
of fact,
bike
when you come
and
at the
shit.
bottom of that step, that 102, I put that right there.
Yeah.
On that concrete, when you walk
I
up
know
the
you
stairs,
seen
that
Bobby
102.
Blue on that little last
Yeah, I
killer.
see it, yeah.
But when you walk in there and you look on there, that shit in the concrete. I put that right there.
Right. Yeah, man, you know, I raised right here, you know, LT house right here.
That's what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man, you know, I'm in grad school and right now, so, you know, I'm just trying to get back to the neighborhood, bro, show people outside of Wood Street, outside of Little Rock, you know what I'm saying, that everybody can make it, you know what I'm saying, it's a route for everybody.
My son went to Howard. He graduated from Howard University.
Oh, really?
He won the Bill Gates scholarship down here.
Oh,
Everybody
really?
was like, damn, they calling me. They thought it was me because he got the same name as me and shit. He on,
Like, I'm coming back, you know, a lot of people, they fly, they don't come back to the hood, you know what I'm saying? There's so much beauty and talent coming out the inner cities, coming out the neighborhoods, you know, and, you know, but a lot of that beauty and talent, it goes out into the world and it doesn't come back. So I like to come back because I know the influence it had on me, you know, like my Uncle Dietrich, Bobby, Lil Bobby, like all them, like they influenced me, you know, like I understood, you know, where gangs came from in its inception. You know, they taught me that earlier, you know, like where Crip came from, where blood came from, how it came. You know, originally it was supposed to protect our neighborhoods, you know, that's it. Protect our neighborhoods versus, you know, outside influence, you know, but later on through drugs and infiltration, you know, it changed over time, and, you know, but it's still a beautiful thing, you know, and I love the hood. I come back to the hood. Like I ride through for motivation if I ever feel bad. Like I ride through here, you know, and I'm good. You know, and like old boy over here just said, his son went to Howard. You know, he was raised right here on this block, you know, and it's beauty in it, you know. And like this dude right here said, he out here taking care of his son, you know, that's rare, you know. And he out here in the hood doing it, you know, and it's beautiful, you know. We got to start promoting these different things and learning to excel, you know, in different ways of life, because at the end of the day, we got our issues, you know, we got our things that we could get better at, you know. But me personally, like, you gotta love yours, you know. That's what I had to do, you know. I went all the way to Africa, went all the way out there, and now I'm in mostly predominantly white spaces, you know, and I still have to find time to love me and know who I am as a black male and my challenges that I face and how it relates to the black women and the black trans and the black, and just the list goes on. So, I mean, for me, like, this is everything. This is who I am, you know. I grew up right here, you know. My boys know what it is, but a lot of my boys didn't make it. And it's sad to say a lot of my boys didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my boys in the fort, like a lot of dudes didn't make it, you know, but I still love them the same, you know, so I just feel like I can't take away from the hood. All I can do is get back to the hood. I wouldn't be who I am without this place. You know, ain't no point in trying to get in the hood. For all the little homies that want to get in the hood, like, ain't no point in trying to get in the hood. It's too late for that. You know, like, it's a new realm of discovery out here. Like, you ain't got to try to get in the hood. You know, just be yourself and be where you from or wherever. You know, but I was raised right here on Wood Street, you know, and a lot of people, I mean, they look at me, they see me, and I guess they don't see much, you know what I'm saying, until I start talking. You know, but the reality is, man, like, this is what made me. This is what made me who I am. Everything. It's crazy. I could sit in here till like 6 o'clock. I don't know what time they close. This one of my favorite books. Carter G. Woodson, shout out to the bros. Miseducation of the Negro. Miseducation of the Negro talks about our inception in the social patriarch that we live in. It talks about educational systems that we profess, and he has a line in here where he speaks on how you have people attaining degrees, which is great. Black people are in school, but they're attaining degrees without attaining that knowledge of self that they need to get back to their people. So in its inception, you know, they kind of like going to school to benefit the white power social structure more so than being able to get back to their people and their family, because they're not learning their real history, they're not learning their real scholars, they're not learning about Imhotep, Shantai Diop, they're not learning about the people that matters to us and where we come from and our lineage, you know. So this is a real good book. Carter G. Woodson also founded Black History Month. He wanted Black History Month to be an 11-month thing. So 11 months you study and you read, you hipping yourself, you getting woke or whatever you want to call it. And on the 12th month, which is February, you celebrate it. You come to the table and you discuss the ideas, you discuss the people, you discuss the culture and everything you learn. It's a good book. Knowledge is so important. It's so important that we know where we come from. We know our lineages. We know perspectives that we've created for ourselves. Knowledge is also important because if you want to transfer anything, you got to know something about it. And if you want to transfer yourself, you got to know a lot about yourself as well. And knowledge of self just don't mean understanding racism. Yeah, you also got to understand patriarchy. You know what a matriarch looks like. Understand sexism. Learn and understand all intersections of knowledge and what it looks like, because it's so multifaceted. This particular Central High quote, like Monument for Central High, mean a lot to me because actually my grandma, she used to clean houses for a living for a while. And one of the houses she used to clean was Miss Daisy Bates' house, who I had the privilege of going over, seeing as a child. I didn't know exactly who she was or what she did at the time, but I knew she had a lot of cats, and I ain't like cats, you know, but I knew later on my grandma was like, oh, that's Daisy Bates, that's the one that integrated into Central High School. A lot of my background come from public schools right here in Little Rock. I went to Mitchell Elementary, I went to Dunbar Middle School, then I went to Central High School. Unfortunately, my mom wasn't able to graduate high school. My grandma wasn't able to graduate high school. A lot of other people in my family wasn't, you know, fortunate enough to graduate high school. I was the first to be a high school graduate. Of course, the first to go to college. And I really had no plans on college, but I was a pretty successful high school football player, and I wanted to expand. I went to UAPB, and the football thing really didn't work out for me. college, I struggled a lot, especially when I first got in. I can remember I ended up having to sit out a semester, almost 2 semesters, because of grades and things like that. It wasn't until I honestly joined my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, I really just got serious, you know, and Omega Psi Phi allowed me to see things in myself that I didn't know I had, like leadership. And they put me in these leadership roles to where I could speak to people, which was one of my biggest fears. I didn't want to say nothing. I didn't want to speak. I just wanted to sit in the background, you know. I knew my senior year that I wanted to do something different. I had been doing a lot of reading, a lot of studying. I chose Peace Corps. It wasn't my first option, but because I was scared. I had never been on an airplane before in my life. I had never traveled. I had never been anywhere. I had never left Arkansas on an airplane. And so it was just crazy to think that my first airplane ride was going to be all the way to West Africa, to Gambia. So that's kind of how education went for me. And it's crazy that I didn't even intend on going here, didn't even intend on applying, because I'd already made my decision that, hey, after undergrad, look, that's it. I kind of did that for my mom and my sisters. I'm done with school. And I went back to Peace Corps. I did my extra 15 months back in West Africa. I came back, and I was real nervous about a few things, and I went on to do my application upon return. And April, I remember I was working at UAPB, and I was doing some Peace Corps work around the yard, and I was working with a young lady named Vanessa Villa. And Vanessa, I was just telling her about how I had applied to the school and I really wanted to get in. And she said, "You gonna get in?" I said, "I think I hear back from them today. Today's April 1st. So they sent me the email, and I'm like, "Vanessa, they just shot me this email, you know." And she was like, "I'll read it for you if you don't want to read it." And I remember opening it, and it just said that I had got accepted. And I couldn't fight back tears. Like, I cried, because it was just like, you know, I knew I believed in myself, but to know that somebody else believed in me too, enough for me to further my education, it meant all the better. I'm in the middle of my first year. I plan to go back to West Africa, to Gambia soon, and do some work with them. And I graduate next year, next May, and I'll be the first person in my family once again to get a master's degree, you know. And a lot of people in my neighborhood don't even know what that is, ain't never heard of what it is, you know. So it's gonna be a good feeling to go back and share that with them, and knowing that, you know, they know where I came from and they know how I was raised and things like that. You know, it's just gonna be a good feeling to be able to go back and give back, you know. And it's just not for me. Any other, you know, black person that's out there, African American, however you identify, that's striving with pressure on their back. You know, shout out to my boy Kid in medical school in Antigua. He doing his thing right now, and he on me every day. I'm on him every day. Like, don't give up. He like, don't give up. Keep pushing. And to me, it just means so much to be in the position I'm in, because, like I said before, a lot of young men that I grew up with did not make it to this point. You know, whether due to family issues, family trauma, prison, or any type of incarceration. I've heard so many times that I couldn't, you know, and I struggled academically a lot throughout my life because of whatever, you know, and I'm not done yet. I plan to go back and get my doctorate right after I get my master's, and that's my end goal. I want to be a doctor. I never thought that I would be in a position to where I would be a doctor, but it's just not my drive. It's also people that didn't believe in me, you know, and listen to my story and listen to where I come from, and they just seen more, and sometimes than I even seen in myself, you know. To anybody out there that's striving, they want to be something great, you know, especially black men, discipline yourself, focus, key in, you know. Like, a lot of your friends, like, it's hit or miss. They there today and they could be gone tomorrow. You know, focus on yourself, because we gotta build our community up. We gotta build our legacies up. You know, and we look at black history, and it ain't always been the best history, and it hasn't always been right, and we haven't always made the right decisions on our ends, you know. But it's up to us as individuals to make it better. You know, I'm in therapy. That's something I actively do weekly. I go to therapy and I discuss my issues, you know, childhood trauma, whatever it may be. You know, and it helps me in my academics, because I'm not worried about, and I don't have the anxiety about things in my past, you know, because I'm going to somebody and I'm actually talking about it and being expressive once a week, you know. So that really, really helps me, and it creates a dynamic where I feel like I can't be beat, like I can't lose. Like, it's no way that I'm looking at the chessboard. It's no losses for me. Like, anywhere I go, I'm a win, you know, and that's my mentality, and I wish that, you know, more people adapted that, because we need that mentality, you know. And the chess, it may be stacked up against you, you know. It was stacked up against me. It's gonna be stacked up against you. Matter of fact, the odds are stacked up against you, you know. But so what, you know? And that's what I had to tell a lot of the world. So what, you know? I came from the inner city. So what? I grew up in poverty. So what? I had to do things, you know, that I wasn't proud of to make ends meet or whatever. Like, so what? I'm here today and I'm still striving and I'm still going. I'm Tim Campbell, and it's for Kingdom and Community.